Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Capricorn in the month of September 2018. Hi, hi, Capricorn. I don't know what the hell I was just about to say. Hi, Capricorn. How are you? I hope you guys are doing well. As you can see, I've gone ahead and shuffled off camera to save time. What you see is your main spread. What I'm going to shuffle for now is your outcome and your overall energy. Once those cards are out and all cards are faced up, that's when the reading will begin. Check for that time in the description box below if you just want to go ahead and skip ahead. Also down there is information on how to go about getting a personal reading with me. If you are ever so inclined and you think I could be someone that you want to work with, then cool. Let's set something up, okay? All right, general messages for Capricorn. Looking for the outcome in September, please. Outcome in September for Capricorn. All right, let's go. Whoa, look at that. That's way too many. Ridiculous. No way. There it is. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. I have to say, Capricorn, when I shuffled your stuff, everything just came out. Boom, boom, boom. Very, I guess, decisive or clear, maybe? We'll see if that comes up in the reading, but, yeah. Okay. Looks good? Perfect. All right, please tell me where Capricorn is for September 2018. Please show me where Capricorn is. Here. Thank you. All right, Capricorn. Coming into September, you come in as the Ten of Swords in reverse. So, new camera, so the focus is... I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn about this camera. Anyway, Ten of Swords in reverse. So, wow. A lot of signs have been getting this card, either in reverse or upright. So, I guess you're in good company as this card just keeps popping out. And for you, Capricorn, I feel this is pretty dang good. Like, you're not in the mood to deal with this anymore. You know, this is typically or traditionally a card of betrayal and being stabbed in the back and being left for dead and just carrying this mental burden, this anguish, this deep sorrow or depression or anxiety about certain things. Well, a little less of the anxiety, but definitely feeling overwhelmed mentally and stressed and having to deal with a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, or a lot of miscommunication in some cases, a lot of ill will being thrown at you, and you are just like not here for it. You are not here for that right now in September. You are not feeling that energy in your life. It's no longer welcome. Okay? You are basically putting the brakes on that. You're putting the brakes on that hardcore. And that's good because, like I said, this has come out for other signs. At this point, I can't remember who had it. Maybe Sagittarius had it, or who was before Sag? Scorpio? So somebody had it recently. But regardless, when I'm encountering this energy right now, yours is definitely more stringent, more focused. What do I mean by that? Like, because it is in reverse, that's either a reduction in it or a releasing of it, or sometimes, but this is not one of those times, it's a double down of it. This is not a double down. This is definitely a release. It's definitely a reduction. And you are really, like, focused on that. You're really, really not here for anybody's bullcrap. You're not here for this continued pattern or this continued feeling of feeling overwhelmed, feeling mentally attacked or mentally unclear, or just like like, I'm getting it mostly as like a tact, and that could be an internal thing or an external thing. Like, it could be, you know, I think I did mention miscommunication. Swords do deal with mental capacities and communication. So you could be in a situation, in a relationship, in a job, whatever. We'll see as we go along if there's a certain area where this might apply, not specifically, but more clearly in the reading. But you might be involved in a circumstance, a situation, a relationship, what have you, where you say one thing and it gets misconstrued, or someone else says something and you misunderstand them. But there's just like sort of like this haywire feeling with this card. It's like the communication hasn't been clear. It's been vindictive in some cases. It's been manipulative. It's been really aggravating or agitating or aggressive. And like I said, the feeling is that's, you want to be over that. You want to be away from this energy. You want to let it go. And if someone is bringing that to your doorstep, you're like, no, I refuse to receive that. I'm not opening the door. I'm not going to sign for that package. I'm not picking up that phone call. It's just like there's a certain block that I feel with this energy that you're putting up. And that is both an offensive and defensive move, because, like I said, I feel like recently, maybe not like recently as in like the last few weeks, but like the prominent thing that you've been dealing with most recently has been this miscommunication, or this awful communication, this vindictive, manipulative, aggravating communication with another person or with a group of people, or just circumstantially, like the feel of a situation, the air of a situation has been like this. And your next move now is to say, you know what, I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to let it affect me in some cases. Like, some of you are building up your strength and building up your resilience and your rejection, like I said, of that energy. Someone might come to you and they might be, you know, giving you flack. They might be speaking all kinds of crazy to you, or trying to goat you, trying to get you into an argument, and you're just like trying different tactics. And one of your tactics is a strong icing. Like, you are icing somebody out. You're just like refusing to engage. You're refusing to respond to them. Someone's calling you 12 times a day. Someone's sending you 15 text messages in a row, and you're just like blanking it. You're not even picking up the phone. You're not even responding. In some cases, you're not even reading those messages. You see the notifications pop up on your phone, but you're not clicking into it to actually read it. And you really, Capricorn, you really are just like, it has to be this way for you. I feel like this is the only way you know how to do it, because previous to this, you were engaging. You were adding fuel to that fire, or you were playing your role in that dissension, in that discussion or argument or whatever, and it got you nowhere. It didn't get you anything but more of this, more strife, more stress, more pain, more suffering. And so you're like, you know what? I can control me. Okay. I can control what I contribute to this, and I no longer choose to contribute. So you've shut someone down, you've iced them out, or someone has done this to you. It is a general reading, so it can go vice versa. Apply it to your life if it fits. Don't force anything to fit. But all of this is because you are setting yourself up for something. What do I mean? You Capricorn, are on track for something new, on track for something that you have long desired, or that you've sort of had as a goal or an aspiration or a dream in your life. I'm going to say for a while now, months, years maybe. But it's definitely been something that's been in your mind's eye, and you can it's so close you can taste it almost. It's like you're so close to getting what you want, and you're just like not going to allow someone to continually try or to newly try. In some cases, this is like a newish thing, like someone who maybe wasn't involved in the situation is now involved, or in other cases, this person has been contentious with you the entire time. Regardless, you're not going to be swayed. You're not going to be distracted. You're not going to be thrown off track. You want to move progressively forward towards your goal, and very little is going to stop you because you have the Death card right above that starting position. Death card is Scorpio, so you might have a Scorpio of significance in your life, but it doesn't have to be. And the Death card mainly is about transitions or transformations, right? It's about moving from one phase in your life or one circumstance in your life to another, and that is through the process of death, not the actual mortal death, but the death of a situation, like I said, the death of a relationship, the death of a mindset or certain behaviors, meaning we let go of what no longer serves us. We move away from what no longer serves us. We reject or we push out what no longer serves us. It's a severing of ties, basically. So this could be in a relationship. This could be in a circumstance or at a job. This could be in your home life, in your roommate situation, or you know, it could be a move. Not that this is necessarily a card of moving away, but it can be something like that where you actually leave the space that you've inhabited for a while now. Or it could be a change within yourself, a change in behavior, a change in your mindset, a change in, you know, your religious practices, anything like that. I'm not feeling it hit any area just yet, so just apply it as you will for the time being. And the interesting thing about this particular Death card, because it's different than the Rider-Waite deck, right? Where Death is by himself. There's no other people here, whereas in the Rider-Waite, Death is on a horse and there are 3 people and like one body, or one deceased person. And in this case, Death is by himself. And so I feel like for you, Capricorn, in some way, you have to stand alone in this situation. You have to defend yourself. You have to be your own best friend, your own guardian, your own teammate, essentially. Like in some cases, some of you are fighting a battle or engaging with a group of people, and it's like, you know, unfair odds, you know, 3-1, 4-1, even a 2-1 is unfair, right? And you're having to make these changes and go about this transformation to solidify or gain, make gains towards the goal that you have in your mind all by yourself. And in some ways that can be daunting for you, Capricorn. In some ways that can be like upsetting to you or frustrating or disheartening to you. But actually, I feel many of you, especially those where you're going at it alone, not all of you are going at it by yourself, but many of you are. But no matter who you are, no matter if you're by yourself or you've got other people on your team, you are not afraid. There's like a fearlessness in this card as well. It's an energy that says, I know that this is coming, this huge transformation, this battle, you know. I'm getting, for some of you, a day in court is what it is, or like some kind of judgment. So maybe not officially a day in court, but like maybe there's like an official date of release. Not necessarily from prison, but now that I've thought of it, there it is. But like a release, like from a contract, a release from some type of legal contract, or a lease agreement. For others, it's like a release from your job. You know, you're counting down, you gave like your 2 weeks notice or whatever, and now you're just like, all right, here I am, you know, counting the time on the clock. And once that date hits, then you know on the other side you can get into this transformation, you can complete this transformation, you can see the benefits of all this work that you've put in previous to this. And what has happened previous to this, if you look at the landscape of this card, oh my God, it was just like decimation, right? Nothing really has been left standing except for the background, which even that is a little cracked, right? Whatever Death is standing in front of, well, it mimics a sunrise, but there's also sort of like a screen, because there's like that square in the back there with the blue border, but the sun is behind it. And the only thing that really remains intact is the universe, or the galaxy, I suppose. That's the border along the top there. Everything else is like cracked or destroyed. You know, things are lopsided. It's crazy. And what am I saying all this for? Basically, you've kind of come out of a war zone. Some of you, maybe that's literally what you've come out of. That could be what you're being released from. Maybe you were overseas serving your country, or maybe you were deployed, or maybe you were contracted to go somewhere, not necessarily in a military sense, but that is kind of where I got that as soon as it came into my mind. But maybe some of you have been stationed somewhere, you've been away because of contract work, and now you're just ready to come home. And where you were, it doesn't have to be a war zone, but there was destruction, there was a lot of loss, and in some cases there was death that you encountered or that you witnessed. So some of you were doing like human relief or human relief. You know what I mean? You were doing like relief missions. You were acting sort of like, not as an ambassador, but certainly someone who was going along. Maybe you were doing Doctors Without Borders, something like that. And where you went, it was a war-torn country, or maybe not even war-torn, but maybe it was a place that suffered a natural disaster, or there's some type of issue in terms of food. Maybe food is scarce. So you've gone somewhere that was barren and full of strife and full of destruction, and it wore you out, okay? But like I said before, you have a resiliency. Like that Death himself is wearing a tattered cloak, but he's still the rack of bones that we know Death to be. So you might look tattered on the outside, Capricorn. You might look like you need some sleep. You might look like, you've been beat up. Maybe some of you were physically injured in some kind of way, but on the inside, the core of you is intact. The core of you is resilient, and the core of you is going to see you through to this new destination, okay? And just to go back and plug this into people who were not abroad, you weren't in the military, you weren't on some type of rescue mission or humanitarian, that's what I meant to say. You weren't doing humanitarian relief or anything like that. You were just living your life day to day. For those where that is this issue, it still applies that whatever you've been dealing with, your home life, your work life, your school life, social things with your friends or whoever, it was tense. A lot of like fallout, I feel, has happened in your life, Capricorn. Lots of arguments, lots of disagreements, lots of, in some cases, like blow-ups, like almost to the point of physical violence in some cases, or like cops were called in some cases, things like this. And you haven't faltered, like you haven't crumbled. As much as there's like the environment around you, which means what? The actual energy around you has crumbled, or the energy and the social situations around you have been damaged, but you yourself are not, okay? For the most part, you are not. And you've stood tall in the midst of all of that. It's not an ego thing, it's not a pride thing, it's really about, you know how difficult this is going to be, and you know the fight's not over. Thank you. You know the fight's not over. And nothing stops Death. Nothing stops this transformation, is basically what they're telling me. Death has appeared here because we all meet Death. Like, if you think of the actual mortal Death, we all meet Death. Nothing will stop it. You can try to prevent it, you can try and live as long a life as you want to, but eventually you're going to end up 6 feet in the ground. I hate to take it to this morbid place, but Capricorn, I think you can follow me. So we all end up facing death. That analogy or that cliched phrasing applies here. You're going to meet death in the sense of a transformation. It doesn't matter. This person or people who are giving you flack, who have tried to stop you, who have tried to throw monkey wrenches in your plan, who have tried to upset you, they will not stop you. They cannot prevent the transformation that is on schedule in your life, Capricorn. So, and I feel this. I feel like some people have tried to hold you back. Like I said, they've tried to knock you off your perch, tried to knock you off track, and you recognize it. You peep it, okay? You know it's happening. There's no wool over your eyes in this situation, Capricorn. And I I hate to say it, but I love it, because I'm saying that because I'm almost done all of the readings for September, and a lot of challenges have been coming up for everybody. But you, I think I said that. Yes, it's connecting. Okay. Because I did Virgo a few days ago, and of course, previous to that, I did Taurus. And Taurus got me fired up. Virgo got me fired up. You didn't get me fired up here, but I do strongly feel what's going on here, which is like, I've been through the mill. They have tried me and tried me and tried me, Jay, but I've not backed down. I've not been sidelined here. I've not been defeated. So there's this attitude amongst all of the earth signs it's been so far that has been constant, is someone or a circumstance is really taxing on you. It's very trying, it's very difficult, but you will not be defeated. Yours is quieter than the other two, I will say that. Yours is way quieter. Virgo was having a lot of internal turmoil, and and Taurus was having like this explosive, like almost to the point of like breaking faces energy. Yours is very like contained, or very, like I said, quiet. Maybe all the action has happened like in months previous, but for the other two, it's a little more on the surface. Yours is definitely more subterranean, more subconscious, more, behind closed doors, so to speak. Anyway, so this transformation that you're after, this transformation that is on your mind, that is what you're moving towards, that you're gearing up for, has been ushered in by this Hermit energy. All right? Hermit, card of Virgo, so there might be a Virgo of significance in your life, but it doesn't have to be. I think it's more your energy, and it could be someone who's helping you along the way. I do get that a little bit for some of you. So this could be a friend, this could be a counselor, this could be some type of professional help, in those really crazy and volatile situations. This could be a police officer or someone in a crisis center who's helping you get out of a bad marriage, an abusive marriage, whatever. God forbid, I hope that's not your situation, but if it is, there would be someone nearby to you who is helping you along the way. But this is shared. This is with you and another person. Like, you're doing this for yourself a bit, Capricorn. You're not letting someone rescue you completely. You are being self-sufficient in this way, in that you've recognized a lot about your life, a lot about your circumstances, a lot about your relationships, a lot about yourself that just was not fitting for you. It was, in some cases, a fantasy? Okay. No, okay. Thank you. Illusionary. Not a fantasy, but illusionary. So, in the case, I hate to bring it up like this, but this is where we are right now. So for those who were in a marriage that was not great, volatile, abusive, or just ridiculously unhealthy, right? Take your pick on the severity and all of that. And again, it doesn't have to be that you're married. It could just be a dating relationship. It could be a roommate situation. It could be whatever. But there is this sense that I get that there was an illusion about it. Meaning, people were keeping up appearances, keeping up with the Joneses, waving to your neighbors across the street. Hey, good morning, Tom. Good morning, Susan, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hey, guys. Oh, what are you guys doing this weekend? And all this pleasantry. And then you get in the car, you pull out of the driveway, and then you go on your commute or whatever you're doing with your husband or your wife in the car, and it's like dead silence. It becomes like this tense situation. So to everybody on the outside, everything looked peachy keen, everything looked like a happy family, but on the inside, behind those four walls, within the car, on the highway, it was not that way. Same thing, again, it doesn't have to be a family situation. It could be roommates. It could be how you are at the job. When you walk in that building, when you clock in and for your shift or whatever, you are all smiles and you're feeling good. You're putting on a brave face for everybody. But something on the inside of you, this is for those who you don't really have a relationship of significance that, or this isn't applying to your relationship, it would apply to yourself. You weren't expressing how deeply, okay, there was like a deep rift, a chasm, thank you, wow, a chasm in your relationship, in yourself, in the situation at hand, whatever. There was just this deep void, and it was growing and growing and growing, like a chasm or something like that. And you know how something, I mean, I don't want to say that, but okay, like what they put in my head was like a windshield crack. You know, if a windshield gets cracked, it's like a small thing, and then as time goes on, it just gets bigger, right? That's how it was. Over time, whatever rift there was, it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. And now it's to the point where it cannot be fixed. You can't go back. And you don't want to, Capricorn. That's the bigger issue here, or the bigger bit of commentary, is that you don't want to go back. Because as the rift got bigger, as the chasm grew, and the pretense kept up, the game of getting along, the game of all smiles for the camera sort of thing, you lost a bit of yourself. You lost a bit of your identity. And in some cases, sort of going back to that whole volatile domestic situation, a lot of you became dominated by somebody else's personality. You faded into the background. You went into this dark, quiet space by yourself, and you got some highlights or some points of insight about yourself, points of insight about your situation. So for some of you, maybe this could be, like I said, a work situation where you go to work every day and you don't actually mind the work, but maybe you mind the social culture that you're a part of. Maybe some of you work in like sort of like boys club sort of offices or whatever, where a lot of like inappropriate jokes happen. There are issues with people manipulating the system, or you just see a bunch of shady crap and you don't like it, but you've put on the face and you've put up this pretense because you need a job. You're not crazy. You need to sustain yourself. But because you care about your work and you care about your stability, but the social aspect was not matching with your own integrity, your own sensibilities, your own ideas of what is decency and all of that stuff. Like I said, there's like a rift. I like my job. I like the money that I make. I'm able to afford my lifestyle. I'm able to keep myself afloat and pay for my bills and take care of my responsibilities. But every time I go in there, people are cracking jokes that aren't funny, that are really defamatory towards, certain groups of people. Or every time I go in there, there's one particular person that makes my experience a living hell. And so that's what I mean, Capricorn. So in this hermit phase where you've gotten quiet, you faded into the background, maybe you kind of lost some sense of who you are, or you're, in some cases, you were frightened, scared, manipulated, or just somehow convinced to be more quiet. Either you convinced yourself or someone else convinced you or talked you into, strong-armed you into being quiet about the situation. And in that space, you got here. You're like, holy shit, I gotta stop this. This has gone too far. Who am I? I'm Capricorn. These are the things I believe in. These are the things I want in my life. I've co-signed to this crap for far too long. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. And that kind of became like your mantra. I need to get out. I need to get out. I need to get out. I need to change this. This can't continue. Right? So, and thank you. And the reason I'm saying it like I feel it was like a slow build or like a slow burn kind of feel. Like it didn't happen overnight. Not much happens overnight with the Hermit, okay? Because I mean, most of that card is in darker hues like blacks and blues, right? And you have that one, well, not one, but you have that spark of light there in the lantern, and then a little bit coming down from the star above. So there are like there have been glimmers of hope. There have been moments where you saw not a way out, but you were formulating a plan. You were formulating the idea or the vision, thank you, the image and the vision of how you could transform, how you could get out of this situation, how you could somehow transcend whatever was going on and protect yourself and get to a healthier spot in your life. It slowly over time took shape. And again, this could be someone external to you. So it could be someone came along into your life that you met, that you established a rapport with, that showed you, oh my God, I don't have to stand for this. I don't have to be victim to this, or I don't have to be involved in this. I don't have to endure this. I can get out. I can make these changes. So either you've done that work internally, or someone came along and kind of gave you the vision, or embodied that vision, embodied that change that you wanted to make in your life, Capricorn. Okay? Now, I think interestingly, what's next? Here and And, okay, thank you. So, while in this space, you went here and here, here and here, okay? So, while in the Hermit phase, which is that internal self-reflection phase, you met up with, or you encountered, or you dealt with the High Priestess in reverse. Come now. Oh, this camera, I swear to God. Excuse me. High Priestess in reverse. Which, again, is another card that's come out a few times for other signs. High Priestess is talking about, like I've said previously, all the knowledge in the universe put together in that one book, Alpha and Omega, right? All the knowledge in the universe, but not sharing that information, not sharing that knowledge, not, making it common knowledge. It is a very specialized knowledge that the High Priestess has. She's tied to the occult. She's tied to everything esoteric and everything sort of spiritual and metaphysical, right? But in this case, I'm not really feeling that being the key point of her arriving here in your spread. She's here because of the intuitive part that also goes with the High Priestess. You were disconnected while you were in this situation here, this turmoil, this Ten of Swords crap, when it was upright and really, really like on fire, really, really like firing on all pistons. You were not in touch with your intuition. You were not in touch with your higher self. You were not able to clearly define who you were and what the issues were before you. You didn't listen to your instincts. You didn't listen to, you didn't recognize the red flags, and you just kind of became complacent or maybe not well, in some cases, yes, because I did say dominated, right? Someone, or it's either a person, a group of people, or a situation just came into your life, or you went into it with eyes wide open, sort of rose tinted or thinking the best, and then certain things came up that showed you this is not exactly what you wanted, this is not exactly who you thought they were, but you kept on with it for whatever reason. Obligation, duty, complacency, comfortability, and in other cases, fear, intimidation, domination. Okay? So take your pick, Capricorn. You know your life better than I do, right? So at that time, in this Ten of Swords energy, there was something very close by to you, or something very close by. There was a part of you that was always there, that was always like sort of like very very mousily, very meekish, or meekly, saying to you, Capricorn, we don't want to do this. Capricorn, let's get out of here. Capricorn, this is bad for us. Capricorn, we have to change things. Very quiet, right? And if that voice, that nudge, that poke in your brain or in your spirit, in your heart, was happening in the middle of a confrontation, or happening in the middle of not even a confrontation, could have been happening in the middle of like a good time, a good memory, a good moment in your life, but it was drowned out by everything else, okay? So when you got into this hermit phase, you met up with her and you realized, oh my God, I neglected you. I didn't hear you out. I knew you were there. It was barely a whisper, but I knew you were there, and I didn't acknowledge you. I didn't embrace you. I didn't open myself up to you. I was afraid. I was manipulated. I busied myself. I distracted myself. Whatever. You know what happened. I don't know. But you know what happened. You know the reasons why you let your intuition slip by you. You know the reasons why your intuition wasn't adhered to, wasn't heard out, wasn't connected with, okay? And that's just what it was. That was the reality. It could still be your reality. For some of you, I'm affirming something that has already happened or is in the process of happening, and you're like, oh my God, yes. And others, this is coming up for you. And if it doesn't resonate at all and everything's peachy keen in your life, good for you. This video is not for you. But for those where this is resonating, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can recognize all these moments in your life, and others you're like, I think I know what's going on, but I don't know. And I'm like, this is a heads up for you, a heads up for you. And so being in the hermit, not connecting with your intuition, this was what was going on in the outside. And this card also has been coming up for many signs, this Eight of Cups. Now, again, in the traditional Rider-Waite decks, she was a figure who's like leaving the Eight Cups behind, getting up and moving away. In this deck, and it's been pretty damn consistent with all the signs that this has come up for, this is a person who knows they need to leave, knows there's nothing left, but they don't go. You either can't or you won't. Take your pick, okay? For some of you, this is a can't situation. That guy, he's sort of dressed like a boat captain, right? And behind him is a boat, but it's wrecked. So there's someone, a boat captain, who's known for traveling across the sea, across the lake or river or whatever. Someone who's known to move from one place to another. But his vessel is destroyed. Therefore, he's not going anywhere. So, like I said, some of you can't. You literally don't have a vessel. You don't have a motive. I think that did a thing. All right, so yeah, some of you don't have a vessel, you don't have an opportunity, you don't have an option, you don't have the resources to get out, right? Again, that has either happened or like that's your current situation. And that kind of connects back into the hermit potentially being someone who's external to you, a counselor, a police officer, a crisis worker, or a God, what do you call them? A social worker, things like that, where you were basically on an island. You were marooned on an island, Gilligan's Island, but solo this time, and you had no rescue. You couldn't rescue yourself. You couldn't get out. There weren't materials for you to get out, and you stayed there, and you made a radio out of coconuts. But then the hermit came along and rescued you, or is coming, or is in your vicinity, and can be called upon to help you. Take your pick. And in other cases, you simply won't. Okay? So that was for the people who can't. For those of you who won't, or who haven't been, maybe you will after you watch this, or maybe you will after whatever happens in your life that needs to happen. But for those where you won't, oh man, I feel like it's a thing of duty, because again, this captain, like, isn't it, although it's not always the case, and I would be challenged to do so myself, isn't it like the duty of a captain to go down with his ship? If the ship is sinking, I need to go down with it. You know, like, it's like that scene in the Titanic, hopefully you've all seen it, where the ship is sinking, and I think they show the captain, he's in like the not the command center, what do you call it? The the place where you steer the boat or you steer the ship, right? And he's there, and you just see the glass beginning to crack at the pressure and the temperature, the ice cold temperature of the water. And he's standing there knowing he's going to die. I hope that's not your situation. I hope you're not sticking to something knowing you could die. Please don't. But you see what I mean? The point is, you feel tied. For those of you who won't leave or who haven't left or who have felt tied, it's because you feel obligated. You feel there's some sense of duty. You feel as though you have no options based on who you are, based on your role in the situation, whether you're a wife or a mother, a husband or a father, whether you're an employee, a brother, a sister, whatever. You feel some type of duty that binds you to this other person or to the situation. And the big kick in the teeth with that is, it's not a happy situation to remain in. It's not, or this person is not a happy person, or these people are not happy people to be around. They're miserable. This is a card of like sustained misery, sustained displeasure, sustained discontentment. Nothing good happens here in this rendition of the Eight of Cups. That's why I like using this deck. That's why I decided to switch it up this month. Because I was just like, there's got to be different messages, because, you know, the Rider-Waite can get old. And I like different decks because you can get different messages. And this is what's going on here. He's like he's sitting there and he's moping. And not to say like you shouldn't mope or that you shouldn't feel bad or that, you know, there's no time for that. But that's sort of been this has been your stance for a long time, Capricorn, is just sitting in this energy and festering in it, allowing it to be this sort of parasite in your life, this thing that just drains you of your blood, drains you of your life energy, drains you of your rest, whatever, your peace of mind, whatever. You've been drained. You couldn't get out, or you just haven't allowed yourself to be released, or you haven't worked for your own release, whatever. But I think all of this here in the bottom, a little bit less with the Ten of Swords, but definitely these two cards have been an internal energy, and this is sort of your outward manifestations, the transformation, the internal reflection, and then you're going to come out. All points lead to this Two of Pentacles. And Two of Pentacles, oh my God, did they get it? They might have gotten it. I think potentially all earth signs have gotten this card. So that's interesting if that's the case. I know Taurus definitely got this. And I think Virgo got it too. But anyway, so all signs and all roads lead to the Two of Pentacles. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Capricorn? Traditionally, this is the card in the Rider-Waite where it's the guy and he's balancing the two pentacles and he's got the infinity symbol between his hands and he's like on one foot. So it's like a balancing act. It's like this tentative, very tricky, not crossroads, but it's a tricky point of navigation, right? In this particular rendition, I feel like that trickiness is sort of behind you because this guy seems to be coming ashore. He's moving away from the ocean or the sea towards dry land, towards the beach. And I think the issue is he's more concerned about the fallout or the aftermath of coming ashore, of making his decision to basically leave that boat or leave the water behind and come onto dry land. So Capricorn, like I said earlier, towards the beginning with the Death card, you know what you want. You know you want to get away from something, to change something in your life, to move on from something or someone. And once you've made that decision, or rather, practical steps, because pentacles are about practicality. Pentacles are about things that you actually physically do or handle in the 3D, okay? They're the most real of the elements as far as tangibility, as far as you can qualify them. You can, this is a table, these are cards, like that's all pentacles. Like I know it because I can see it, I can feel it, I can interact with it. You know, wands is like passion and a little, it's action, but it doesn't necessarily have to deal with physical objects. You know, swords are your mentality and your mental capacities, and of course cups are your emotions, and you know, that's definitely not as concrete as a pentacle. So what's that little rant about? Basically, you've made practical, concrete steps towards something, towards this change, towards this transformation. And you are a little nervous and concerned about what comes after. Like I said, here or here, I can't remember where, but there's like a deadline for some of you. So there's this release from your contract, released or sent back to the States or wherever. You're released from your military duty, you're released from your humanitarian efforts, you're released from your job, you're released from your marriage, the divorce is settled, or in the case where it's like really volatile and it's been a hell of a trip to get out of it, you are finally able to prove in a court or with the police that your situation is dire, your life was in danger, your children were in danger, and you are getting like a mandate, like you're getting like a restraining order, you're getting someone locked up, or someone is being sent away to rehab or something like that. And whatever happens after that moment, you're like, oh boy. You're a little anxious about it. Look at this guy. He's a little like, ooh, whew, you know, catching his breath, calming himself, okay? And that's kind of where it ends. You know, your main spread at least. Like, it's happening, or it will happen. What happens on the other side, who knows? This has been mostly a reading, and I think also that was the case with the other earth signs. It's really a reading of confirmation or affirmation. You know all the key points, you know all the key players, you know all the details that I don't know. I'm just kind of giving you the bullet points. I'm like giving you the outline of your own life. But you know, like the book, like you know all 28 chapters. I'm just like the spark notes or the cliff notes, okay? Now your outcome for September, if I can get it off the table. 6 of Pentacles. Beautiful, lovely, amazing. And you might be like, 6 of Pentacles, okay. 6 of Pentacles is very important. And definitely in this deck, because it's different than it is in the Rider-Waite deck. But the underpinning of both interpretations is balance. Having things be reciprocal, having things being a fair give and take. You get what you deserve, I get what I deserve, and everybody's happy. Let me X that out. Maybe not everybody's happy, but everybody gets what they're supposed to get, is what I'm getting here. And that's the, like I said, the underlying or the underpinning interpretation of both this particular instance and what traditionally is understood. The difference here is this person is by themselves. In the 6 of Pentacles, in the Rider-Waite, there are 3 people on the card. Here you just have one person on a hillside or cliffside, and he's levitating those pentacles above him, and he's got that crescent moon above him, right? That quarter moon, which is sort of reflected back here in the High Priestess. So I think this would indicate that there's a sort of alignment or victory or some type of shout out in a way to your intuition. I think you're going to find balance within yourself, Capricorn. I think you're going to find balance within what has been going on in your internal space with what is happening or what is manifesting in your external space. So what you've been wishing for, working towards, what you've been making decisions about will not necessarily come out in your favor. I don't think everybody's going to be like over the moon about the result. But I think you're going to feel a sense of freedom because, I mean, look at that stance. He looks like a guy who's been through a thing or two, and now he's sort of celebrating by tossing his pentacles in the air, or in this case, levitating them. So even if you don't end up in the exact situation that you want, or It doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come wrapped up in a pretty bow. The fact that you've been released, the fact that you've been reunited with your intuition, with what you knew was always true, with what you knew was always imperative to your peace of mind, this is what you're going to feel. You're going to feel delighted. You're going to feel elated. It's kind of a weird thing, and I wish I had a better reference for it, but I don't. But it's sort of like, for those who have been in a situation that was really volatile, really destructive and stressful and all of that, even if you end up living in a halfway house, living in a shelter, and I hate to point it out that way, but this is kind of how it's coming along. Maybe you went from like a 3-bedroom home, in the suburbs, but like I said, in those 4 walls, things were not pretty, things were not cute, but now you live in a shelter, now you live in a halfway house, now you live in some type of protective situation, or you had to move in with a relative who has like a 2-bedroom apartment on like the 35th floor or something like that, right? Even though you've potentially on the outside downgraded, or in some way have a new set of circumstances which will be trying and stressful or not the easiest to deal with, at least you're not where you were. That's what this is. At least I'm not where the hell I was, which was god awful, which was the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life, in some cases, okay? And that would definitely apply for those of you who are coming back from being in a war-torn country, or in a war zone, or, like I said, in humanitarian efforts where you're seeing people starving, you're seeing people suffering, you're seeing people lose their loved ones. You come home, and although it might, in some cases, feel shallow to be so appreciative of what you have, but that's what you're going to feel like. I complain about my kids and, this new math that they're teaching my kids. I complain about the traffic going to work. I complain that Starbucks is the Starbucks that I usually go to is closed because of renovations. But at least I'm not, fill in the blank. At least I'm not living here. At least I'm not dealing with this. At least I'm not that. So it brings a certain appreciation into your life, whatever these new circumstances are, okay? Overall energy for the month. 2 of Cups. Well. And if you've been watching, you've seen it sitting there the whole time. So for some of you, this is going to be this is about relationships for some of you. And I think for some of you, the overall energy is you may have had a marriage or a relationship where you felt it was this. And this is showing up to confirm that in some cases, this was like a soulmate, a karmic kind of situation, for better or worse. Soulmates and karmics especially, they are not always pretty relationships to deal with. They're not always the easiest to deal with. They're usually very challenging. They're usually pushing us to certain breaking points. And so this is just a confirmation of that. For others of you, I feel that this is what you will encounter after you've made these decisions, after this balance is restored and all of that. You'll eventually get to this point with someone new, whether that be romantic or not. A soulmate can be someone romantic, or it can be someone who's just really close to you that's profoundly a part of your life. In other cases, this deals with the what I mentioned earlier, the illusion effect that was overseeing some of this, or is overseeing your life. There was this illusion where on the farther side of this, that some of you thought like this was like a tragic romance, and it's not, but you somehow believe in. Clean that up, please. What's that mean? Okay, thank you. So you believed in it being this fairy tale romance when it sure as hell was not. And this is just, again, acting as a confirmation of that, because what's going on there is, these 2 lovers, they're embracing, and that guy, he looks a little domineering. I mean, that's a forceful kiss, right? And in the foreground, it looks beautiful. Those 2 cups are full of light and all that kind of stuff. But as you go towards the top, And towards the background of this card, there's a bunch of flowers, but the landscape is dark. So that talks about that whole thing where the illusion, right? A lot of you were like putting on a brave face. A lot of you were keeping up with the Joneses. A lot of you were giving pretense and saying, this is a great marriage. This is a wonderful relationship. I'm happy at this job. I'm happy here. And that was just a lie. You were putting flowers over this vast darkness, this void. Void, okay? You were flowering your life falsely. And some of you still are. That's why it's here also. Some of you are still doing that. So you can choose to do that if you're in it now. You can continue to do that if you want to, but I wouldn't personally. But that's a subjective point of view. Don't listen to me. I am not you. You are not me. Okay. All right, Capricorn. That is your reading for September 2018. I thank you so much for watching up until this point. If you like what you saw, if it resonated with you, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below. Hit the like button. Also share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. And I've told all the other signs, and I'm going to tell you, and Aquarius and Pisces after you. I just want to quickly sort of, I guess explain, or give a little bit more insight into what I'm doing here. I started this channel because to me, tarot and astrology has always been helpful in my life. It's always been something or a part of my life that has given me strength in a time when I needed strength a lot, or given me guidance when I needed guidance. And I've gotten to a point where in my life I feel more compelled to give that back out because, you know, I've encountered many people I've learned from, people I've watched and admired, and it's always in the sense of giving. And for many years I didn't give, and many years I kept all this to myself. And now I'm like wanting to express it. So with my chosen platform, YouTube, or the chosen platform I'm on now, YouTube, I want to just reach out to as many people as possible. And how can I do that? Through YouTube. Well, they like algorithms, they like crunching big numbers and all that good stuff. So in order to do that, I would need likes, comments, shared videos, and subscriptions, right? So if you like what I do here and you want to help me with my goal, which is not based on my ego, it's not based on money, God knows it's not based on money. If you want to help me along in that goal, please do any and all of those things if you feel compelled to help me, okay? So if you have never liked a video of mine before, but you come back and you watch these every month, and you cross-watch some of my videos, and if you like it, please hit the like button. That's all. But if you don't want to do that either, that's cool too, because all energy is about an exchange, right? And so if you're not one to want to give it, I wouldn't want you to force, I wouldn't want to compel you to do anything that you don't want to do, is basically it, okay? All right, so that's my little spiel to kind of further clarify what I do here and why I do it. Anyway, I'll be back in about 3 weeks' time, Capricorn, when I do your October readings, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.